So if he couldn't have them in that way, as a consenting, continuing partner, the second best way would be to have them in some other state in which they would remain with him and still be available for these activities. And the second choice that would be best for him, he thought, would have been if he could have had one of them whose will had been destroyed. And the two techniques he actually tried were, of course, drilling into the skull and injecting acid into the what he thought would be the frontal lobe region, and likewise drilling into the skull and injecting boiling water into the frontal lobe region. And Mr. Dahmer is not the first serial killer to wish to create sex slaves and to take steps to try to create such persons who would be available for his sexual use. His third choice, and one that he often got, really, was an unconscious partner, because someone who is unconscious but alive allows him to do all of those things that he likes to do. His next choice after that was that if he could find one man with sufficiently attractive physique to keep permanently while dead, that would be useful, because he could do many of the things he wanted, though not quite all. And here what he considered was something he heard about on a TV show. When we discussed it, we both thought we might have seen it on 60 Minutes, but neither he nor I am sure of the particular show. But one show did something on people who freeze-dried their pets. And Mr. Dahmer's idea was that if he could get the apparatus for that and freeze-dry a man of the appropriate physique, he'd at least be able to continue to have him to look at while masturbating, to pose perhaps in various positions if they were flexible enough in that state, to fondle, to rub, to hug, to touch. They would not have sounds to listen to, but they would have a lot of what he was interested in. And he thought that if he'd been able to freeze-dry one of the more attractive men, that he would not have had a desire for the other victims. The step he took was to go to the library, and in a magazine he thought was called Taxidermy, found an advertisement from a supplier of the equipment for freeze-drying animals, and found that there were two sizes of the machines, one of which seemed like it might be large enough for humans, but the cost was prohibitive. It cost $30,000 or so, he thought, and so that was not an available option. The next best choice was that of a fresh corpse. Now, the fresh corpse, like the freeze-dried person, has the problem of not having any sounds to listen to, but it has the additional problem that it will not stay fresh. Lastly, along this spectrum of people or bodies or parts under his control was the other uses he made of those whom he in fact had killed. And here he told me that he made use of the viscera for masturbation by opening the victims in the course of dismembering them. And there was a particular phase of dismemberment where he would stop sometimes to take photographs, sometimes to masturbate, sometimes both. And that was upon opening the abdomen when the abdominal viscera are first exposed. And he would masturbate while looking at that. And that was a long-standing image as far as I could determine. That was an interest he had had since late in high school. And this gave him occasion to make use of that particular image. And that's basically the spectrum of controlling another person. Now, to call all of that just necrophilia really sort of misses the mark, but it's the best word we have at the moment for it.
And if Jeff Dahmer seemed normal enough on the surface, the court-appointed psychiatrist, Dr. George Palermo, explained why.
All of us, so-called normal, let's say, have features of dependency. We have sadistic features at times when we're not too nice towards people that we are with, we like, and so on. We have also fetishistic features, because when someone of our dear ones dies, what do we do? Certainly we don't have a sexual fetishism, but we try to embrace even the dead body because of the importance we give to this dead body, this person who was dear to us and died. And that goes along with the borderline personality. Borderline personality changes mood from depression to elation. We all have these kind of things, not to that degree though. We are a composite of many facets, and we become sick when these facets become exaggerated. And that is what is called personality disorder.
The jury had to decide whether he was sane or insane. So it was to be prison after all, not the softer option of a secure hospital. The jury's decision was read out 15 times, once for each count.
Again, in the state of Wisconsin versus Jeffrey Dahmer, case number F912542, in a special verdict, question number 1. At the time the crime was committed in count 2 of the information, in regard to the death of Richard Guerrero, did the defendant, Jeffrey L. Dahmer, have a mental disease? Answer, no.